After the success of Jurassic Park and the wait between Lost World, movie companies were open to adapting more of Michael Crichton's novels. The one that fell in line next was Congo. Crichton originally wanted to do this one all the way back in the 80s, right after the book came out. The problem, movie critics maligned the film right from the get-go. The biggest issues were it was a mixture of various movies put together and that the main characters were weaker than the secondary characters, along with Amy. The critics were right in areas, but I think they were too harsh in others. The movie is very much structured like Jurassic Park. A group of people going into a dangerous area deal with deadly animals. It's also a mixture of Predator and Planet of the Apes. The movie, where does it go? There's actually two stories running through the film. The secondary one is about Amy. Amy's an intelligent gorilla that was taught sign language by Dr. Elliot, where he invented a special backpack that translates the sign language in real time, so Amy could vocally speak.
Tickle me.
This is the first issue with the film. Amy is suffering from nightmares. These nightmares are brought on from her want to return to her birthplace. She's been drawing paintings of the jungle with this weird eye. Can you get what the problem is? An animal wanting to return to nature makes sense, but why would Amy want to go back to a place that gives her nightmares? That'd be like someone having nightmares where your parents died and wanting to go back to the location to live there. On top of Elliot successfully wooing an audience with a talking gorilla.
This is a talking gorilla, Moira.
So all that grant money in teaching Amy and the potential of monetizing this tech for future gorillas or potentially other animals isn't important all of a sudden? The movie tries very hard to justify this and does it badly.
How about this? I taught her, now she can teach them. Who? The mountain gorillas. There's an inherent generosity in the human spirit. One of its faces is the face of the teacher.
Okay, if you didn't care about money, why have the show to get investors? And I know Elliot is worried about Amy's health. You can't have two conflicting directions of the character.
Ouch.
A minor tweak is needed. Have Amy already be a success. Elliot's hard work pays off. We get context with the news report on TV or something. Then have Amy want to return home. Still draw the clues for the plot, but not have it be a nightmare. Lose that. It was only done as a motivation for Elliot to release her. Just have her be depressed being in the human world. Don't make home the haunted house. The main story is a communications company looking for special diamonds in the Congo jungle in order to improve on their laser system. This team, led by Bruce Campbell's character, stumbled upon something, got murdered, and went missing, which forced Travicom to send a small rescue team into Africa, meaning only one person, Dr. Ross. This is how the two stories merge. Elliot needs funding to bring Amy back to her home. In comes Herkimer Homolka, a convened philanthropist that wants to help out, but his real goal is to find the lost city of Zinj, which he believes that Amy knows. Now, of course, the first thing you'll think with Tim Curry playing Homolka, he's the bad guy. Surprisingly, he's not. He can be a dick and care only about himself.
Help me. Fill up everything.
Which gets him killed, but he's not the main one. I think critics are too harsh on the film when it comes to the characters, at least. I think all of them are well-rounded. Now, some stand out better than others. I'll get back to that later. But another issue people had was with Amy. I don't understand this one. The movie required a gorilla to act and be friends with humans. There was no way for them to use a real gorilla. This was also the reason why Crichton didn't work on the movie. He wanted a real gorilla. I don't get it. The suit performers did good jobs. The suits were not horrible. They were better than 2001 Planet of the Apes. There would be no difference if the film was made today. The gorillas would just be CGI. You're still interacting with something that's fake. Saying they were not convincing enough to be gorillas? No. I think they portrayed Amy fine.
Amy wants green drop drink.
For the other characters, Elliot, run-of-the-mill scientist, cares about his work, friendly, protective of Amy, doesn't do that great in serious situations, but can be heroic in his own right. But mainly overshadowed. I always call him Steve Gutenberg light. Dr. Ross, she may work for a communications company, but was former CIA, and her whole reason for going was to save her ex-fiancé. Not the technology, but her boss only cared about the laser. And the fiancé was his son, who dies right at the start. If you like Bruce Campbell, he's only in it for a few minutes.
How's the volcano?
Acting very much like a volcano, thank you very much.
Which leaves us with Captain Monroe, played by Ernie Hudson. He's the reason why you watch the film. Honestly, he stole the film. His character was far more interesting than the two leads. With Ross, she's serious, doesn't get any levity.
I'm a scientist, but you and your protege, as far as I can see, belong in the circus.
Elliot, he's so fixated on Amy, doesn't get much screen time. The movie is part dark comedy and thriller action adventure. It has cursing and many gory moments, but they nailed it when they gave the audience a break.
Push me, please.
Monroe was also like this. He took every situation serious, but he's so used to his government being crap or lack of government, he just goes with it. The first problem they deal with when entering Africa, two sides were trying to kill each other and one bombed the president's car, so now they gotta flee and fly into a no-fly zone. They're being shot at with guns and land-to-air missiles. He's laughing, doesn't give a crap, but he's not a dick. If someone does something cool, he compliments and goes along with it. Captured, who cares? Bribe them and move on.
I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to call this off.
Fine. If you don't want to go, just go wherever. Now, excuse me?
He's able to read people really good. He knew Ross was more than just some geek girl when she used a flare gun to stop heat-seeking missiles and hitting the plane. If you're going to praise the movie for one thing, the characters' personalities are it.
Thank you. Now, run away. Oh, come on, man. Run away.
The film is still predictable. Homolka is correct. Amy does know the city of Zinj is real. This part is probably what the critics hated the most. It feels very much like Planet of the Apes. Zinj was built around this massive diamond deposit that's near an active volcano. The people were so paranoid, they trained native gorillas to kill. They kept breeding them more vicious, so they didn't stop. They eventually killed the people of Zinj and anyone who would get near the diamonds in the lost city.
Come on, let's go.
I don't really buy this part. I mean, this city was made a few thousand years ago. Would the gorillas actually stay in the same place forever? Over time, their food supply would get lower. The dangerous eruptions would make it difficult to stay there. Diamonds don't do junk for them, and they have to breed at a decent pace to keep this line of killer gorillas going. Compared to the other issues of the film, this is minor. The only three that made it out was Elliot, Ross, and Monroe. Amy made it home, found some gorillas, and left, so there was a happy ending. The movie can be dumb in places, and it feels really much like Jurassic Park. I honestly think that's what everyone expected. They got this, hated it, and ignored the positive sides. Most people will see it as campy, even with the gore and cursing. Check it out for Hudson and Amy. I think the 2 decades that passed changed my view on the movie. We were so enamored by Jurassic Park, I think also people waiting for a sequel for that hurt it. Thanks for checking out the video. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. And if you remember a movie or a show that's long been forgotten, good or bad, leave it as a suggestion below. I'm always on the lookout for obscured stuff.